the author took this photo inside the abandoned attic of an old house. According to him, the attic is difficult to access, completely dark, and had not been disturbed for years. At first, all he noticed in the image was an old broken porcelain object. But later, while looking at the photo again on a screen, he saw something strange begin to stand out. In the darkness, what appears to be a female figure starts to emerge. A face, a hand, and the outline of a body dressed in long clothing. The shape seems to form gradually the longer someone looks at it, almost as if it was hidden there the entire time. Since that moment, he says he no longer goes into the attic. The experience left him too unsettled and genuinely afraid. What was hiding in that attic? Write your thoughts in the comments. What was meant to be a simple photo of a child playing turned into a shocking discovery. The parents only wanted to capture a happy moment in their young son's life, but later, when reviewing the picture, they were stunned. In the image, a female figure seems to emerge, holding the child. Her face appears distorted, as if she is screaming or calling out. Strangely, no one saw anything like this at the moment the photo was taken, which makes her appearance in the image deeply unsettling. The owner shares the photo out of curiosity, inviting others to decide what the camera really captured, a trick of light and shadow, or something beyond normal explanation. The image has already sparked debate and leaves behind more questions than answers. What do you think appeared in this photo? Write in the comments. A man sent this photo to prove to his girlfriend that he was really at work. That day, he was the only person on site. However, when looking more closely at the image, something disturbing becomes noticeable. It looks as if someone is sitting in the passenger seat of the car. If he was truly alone at the location, who or what ended up in the photo? What do you think was sitting in that seat? Write your opinion in the comments. Amy shared this photo, saying she had shown it to friends many times over the years and recently came across it again. At the time, she and her future husband were just dating and had visited his parents' house with their dog, Cody. As a child, Chris sometimes said he felt a presence in one of the rooms while trying to sleep. Amy may not have known that at the time the photo was taken. Later, her mother-in-law printed the pictures and, while looking at them, suddenly said, "Oh, look, another face." Amy explains that believing in ghosts or dismissing it all as imagination is a personal choice. Most of the family remains skeptical, which she understands. But according to her, Cody the dog clearly reacted to someone, or something, in that house, and Amy herself is convinced there is something unexplainable there. They even tried to recreate the conditions that could have caused the effect, but nothing worked. A normal painting of a waterfall and mountains hangs on the wall. The house is residential now, but it once stood on farmland, and Amy still wonders what may have existed there long before. For her, this is one of the strangest and most meaningful photos she owns, an image that only strengthens the uneasy feeling that has always surrounded that house. What do you think appeared in the room? Share your thoughts in the comments. The owner of this image, Heather, says the photo was taken around 2009. She immediately points out an important detail. There was no dog in the car, and at that time, they did not have any pets at all. That is why the image is so confusing and unsettling for her. The photograph clearly shows something that resembles a dog, even though nothing like that existed in reality. Since then, this photo has remained an unexplained and chilling reminder of that moment. What do you think appeared in the car? Write your opinion in the comments. This photograph was taken 9 years ago in a rented house. The girl who took it said there was absolutely nothing behind her, just an empty hallway. Even her dog, sitting nearby, was staring at the same direction. When she looked closer, she froze. Behind her, a pale, human-shaped figure seemed to stare directly into the camera. Its eyes were pitch black, hollow, as if missing entirely. She swore she was home alone that night. So, who, or what, was standing there? What do you think? A trick of light, or something truly watching her? This photo was taken during a normal nighttime drive with friends. Two girls were recording videos on a phone and noticed nothing unusual at the time. But later, after pausing the footage, something disturbing appeared between them. A pale face with closed eyes and unnaturally gray skin seemed to be sitting directly between the passengers. At first, everyone assumed it was just motion blur or a reflection in the glass. But there was one unsettling problem. Only 2 people had been inside the car. The mysterious figure appeared to be sitting exactly where nobody should have been. After the image was shared online, arguments quickly followed. Some insisted it was only a visual illusion caused by poor lighting and movement. Others believed the camera may have accidentally captured something that looked disturbingly close to a ghost. What do you think appeared in that car? Write in the comments. It was the night before Halloween. The children stood by the window, watching the street as their grandfather took a picture to capture the moment. Later, when he looked closely, he saw it, a dark figure standing right beside the kids. Its face was shadowed, its eyes faintly glowing. The shape seemed to blend into the night outside, yet its outline was distinct enough to send chills through anyone who looked. Some say it was a reflection, others believe it was something else, something that decided to appear on that thin night between the living and the dead. Was it just a trick of light, or had the spirits truly crossed over that evening? A couple visited a ship famous for its haunted reputation to celebrate a birthday. They took several photos and videos, none remarkable, except one. Inside the Winston Churchill Lounge, deep in the back of the ship, the wife snapped a picture while her husband stood a few feet away. They were alone. Moments later, she gasped. In the image, a dark anomaly appeared, faint but unmistakable. The couple swears there was no one there. The guide later told them that passengers have long reported seeing figures appear in mirrors or reflected surfaces in that lounge. Was it a trick of the camera, or one of the ship's lost souls still wandering the decks? As a child, one visitor to the famous ship Queen Mary took 2 photos inside what's known as the haunted closet. In both, the same chilling figure appears, a shape standing near a girl, its hand seemingly resting on her neck. Witnesses recall that right after taking the first photo, the child burst into tears, terrified by what they saw. When the second picture was taken, the same shadow appeared again, unmoving, as if posing for the camera. Experts have analyzed the photo for years and found no sign of editing. Crew members claim that this part of the ship is one of its most haunted, tied to unexplained deaths during its service. What was that figure? A reflection, or one of the Queen Mary's restless spirits still lingering in the dark halls? These photos belong to Jolene Hall. According to her, they were taken and made during a bachelorette party in Edinburgh. Her friends had planned a surprise ghost tour through the city, which led the group into the famous underground vaults. While the guide spoke about the dark history of the place, one of the women took photos. Behind the group stood an American couple, a woman in a cap and a man slightly behind her. Nothing seemed strange at the time, but later, While reviewing the pictures, Jolene noticed something disturbing. The man's face appeared to change from shot to shot, and around him strange, distorted faces seemed to form. Some of this was noticed in person. His expression changed. During the tour he had been talkative, but as they left the vaults, he suddenly went silent. So abruptly that one of the friends asked if he was okay. He responded shortly and coldly, "I'm fine." These images are screenshots from the originals. What was discovered later left everyone deeply uneasy, with the strong feeling that something more than a simple tour had taken place in those underground chambers. In 2010, a YouTube user shared a chilling photo that, according to him, was taken by his sister during a night shift at an unknown hospital. The image quickly drew attention. Many viewers became convinced that something not of this world had been captured. The figure in the photo looks deeply unsettling, almost threatening, turning what should have been an ordinary hospital night into the scene of something unexplainable. Hospitals are places where life and death exist side by side, but was something else walking those halls that night? What do you think was caught in this hospital photo? Share your thoughts. Early one morning, a woman awoke to find something horrifying staring down at her. On the ceiling above her bed appeared a distorted face, pale, eyeless, and stretched, as though pressed from the other side of the wall. She snapped a picture in panic. Even in the dim light, the features are unmistakable: hollow sockets, a twisted mouth, and the faint outline of shoulders fading into the plaster. No one has been able to explain the image. The marks disappeared days later, but she swears she still hears quiet movements above her at night. Is it pareidolia, or something trying to break through from the dark? Driving home one night, a man felt an unshakable sense that he wasn't alone. The air inside the car felt heavy. Glancing at the rearview mirror, he quickly snapped a photo and froze. In the mirror, right behind his passenger, a pale, smiling face stared back. It wasn't his friend. It wasn't anyone he knew. The grin was too wide, the eyes too hollow. He showed the photo to others. Every reaction was the same: shock, disbelief, fear. Was it a trick of the glass? Or had something unseen joined them for the ride? Look closely. Do you see it too? This photograph was shared by a woman named Chrissy. According to her, the image shows a strange figure or silhouette standing directly behind a young girl. It does not seem to belong to the scene and creates the unsettling feeling of something unnatural and unexplained. Many people who examine the image question whether it is just light and shadow, a camera glitch, or something paranormal. Some say the figure looks disturbingly real, as if it is silently watching. What do you think is standing behind the girl? Share your thoughts. This photo was taken years ago on an old train during a Polar Express ride. It was uploaded to social media with no one noticing anything unusual until someone pointed out a frightening face visible in the window. Some viewers claim it looks like a demonic figure. Whatever it is, the person who posted the photo admits that even years later, the image still sends chills down the spine. What do you think was staring through that window? Write in the comments. A woman shared a disturbing story about her son. While he was staying at a friend's house, he constantly felt like someone was watching him. At night, he heard strange noises but tried to blame it on his imagination. One morning, the feeling returned stronger than ever. He took a photo, and what appeared in the image stunned him. A terrifying figure could be seen in the television screen. What makes it even stranger is that the TV had been turned off at the time. So what was watching him from the dark reflection? What do you think was captured in the screen? Share your opinion in the comments. Two photographs were taken at a funeral, but one of them caused real shock. The man who shared the images claims that in the first photo, near the fence, what looks like an archangel can be seen. In the second, the figure appears to be rising into the sky. According to him, this was a sign that even in moments of loss, loved ones are not alone and someone from above guides them home. What do you think appeared in these funeral photos? Write your thoughts in the comments. A woman said this photo came out overexposed, but one detail stands out too clearly to be dismissed as light distortion. That same day, her cat behaved strangely, hissing, staring at empty corners, and refusing to enter one particular room. It seemed as if the animal sensed something long before the camera did. In the doorway of the image, a dark shape can be seen, tall, still, and unnaturally solid compared to the surrounding blur. It feels less like a lighting error and more like a moment when something unseen briefly stepped into view. The picture creates a deep sense of unease, as though the camera froze a second when an invisible observer stood silently in the doorway. What do you think was in that doorway? Share your opinion. The owner of this image said it was noticed by accident while checking a baby monitor to see how his daughter was sleeping. On the screen, behind the crib, something appeared. Not a toy, not a shadow, but a shape disturbingly similar to a human face. It seemed to be watching the child. Still, silent, unmoving. The parents were overwhelmed with fear. They checked the room immediately, but found nothing there. Even now, the image remains unexplained, a chilling reminder of that night. What do you think appeared on the monitor? Share your thoughts. A young woman explained that the person in the center of the frame is her friend, and directly behind her stands what she calls a ghost lady, a pale female figure that seems to loom over her as if feeding on her fear. For a long time, her friend had experienced unsettling paranormal encounters, but a recent incident frightened her more than anything before. During a city celebration, the same eerie figure appeared in several photos taken throughout the evening. At the time, no one noticed anything unusual. Only later, when the images were reviewed, did the shape become visible, tall, faint, and disturbingly human. The first time she saw it, the shock was so intense she could not sleep for days. Over time, the panic faded slightly, but the feeling of being watched never disappeared. Now she and her family hope for only one thing, that whatever this presence is, it finally leaves her alone. They pray that Ghost Lady will vanish, yet the photos still leave a chilling sense that someone unseen is standing just out of sight, quietly observing. What do you think was following her? Write in the comments. The owner said, "My brother sent me this photo. He was experimenting with cameras to monitor his sleep because he suspected he might be sleepwalking. He has no pets and was alone that night. Everything looked normal, except for this one shot, timestamped 5:55 a.m. In the image, he lies peacefully on the couch, yet something faint hovers above him, a smoky shape, almost human, bending over his body as if watching or trying to reach into him. The other cameras in the house captured nothing unusual. Still, he couldn't shake the cold dread that something had visited him in his sleep. What do you think? Coincidence, or something trying to possess him? This is the famous ghost photograph taken by Trevor, the father of the person who shared it. The photo, captured on the coast of Dunedin years ago, has been analyzed by experts, skeptics, and photographers alike. None could prove any editing or tampering. The image is authentic. Behind Trevor stands a dark anomaly, a shadow in human form, faint but undeniable. Those who've seen it describe the presence as cold and oppressive, as if the figure itself emits dread. The photographer claims to have seen something similar later in life, and promises that the truth will be revealed in an upcoming documentary. What was the dark shape on the shore that day? Just a shadow, or something far older, drawn to the living? The owner of these photographs shared a story that still leaves people uneasy. He explained that he is a medium, but the events in the images date back to the 1970s. At that time, his grandmother was simply taking a photo of a New Year's tree, an ordinary family snapshot with no hidden intention. When the film was developed, she noticed a strange figure in the picture and immediately returned to the photo shop, insisting a printing mistake had been made. The employee carefully checked the negatives and told her, whoever that is, they were truly there when this photo was taken. Looking closer, the woman felt a wave of shock. In the bay window, a tall silhouette could clearly be seen, the unmistakable shape of her father, who had died 20 years earlier. The figure appeared far too tall, unnaturally stretched, as if no living person could have stood in that room. The image has remained in the family ever since, not as proof, but as a mystery frozen in time. What do you think appeared in that window? Write in the comments. The owner of this photograph, Dave, recounted, "This picture was taken on March 23rd while my friend and I were walking through the forest, testing my new Packard Bell digital camera. We took several photos, and some of them turned out strangely. If you zoom in on the trunk of the main tree, you can clearly see something resembling a face staring back at us. Neither of us smokes, so we cannot blame mist or vapor. We honestly have no explanation and would appreciate any help identifying what this could be." The forest that day was quiet, too quiet. The branches stood motionless, as though holding their breath. In the photograph, lodged deep in the texture of the tree's bark, a faint face seems to emerge, eyes shaped from shadow, a mouth that forms something between a grimace and a silent scream. It does not look like a trick of light. The features appear too symmetrical, too deliberate, and disturbingly aware. Some who examined the image claim the face resembles something pressed from inside the tree, as if a figure were trapped within the wood itself. Others say it looks like a watcher, something living between the trees, observing anyone who crosses its path. What do you see in the tree? Leave your thoughts in the comments. The owner of these photographs explained, "The security camera in the bedroom captured these images 8 months apart. I should also mention that the house has always felt completely safe. There has never been even the slightest sense of anything negative here, and even the dog seems perfectly comfortable with whatever this presence is." Yet the photographs tell a different story. Both images show faint, translucent figures sitting on the bed, shapes that look almost human, but blurred and hollow, as if carved from pale light. Their outlines appear soft yet deliberate, like silhouettes frozen mid-movement. The atmosphere around the bed seems to shift, as if the air itself folds around them. Whether these figures represent a benign presence or something that merely appears harmless remains uncertain. The calmness felt in the house contrasts strangely with the unnatural stillness of the shapes captured on camera. Viewers often claim they feel watched just looking at the photos, as if the figures are aware of being observed and sit silently in the dark, waiting for the camera to flash again. What do you think these figures are? Share your thoughts in the comments. The photographer described this moment. "This was taken during my very first ghost hunting experience about 7 years ago. No editing, no filters. This is what I call the murder/suicide note house, located on the grounds of the Underground Railroad. The picture is 100% real, and I have returned there around 20 times, always capturing something. This house is filled with evil, which explains why the husband wanted to kill his family. It has been abandoned since 2011. The good news is the family survived and is safe. The photograph shows the decaying exterior of the abandoned house. But in one of the windows, something stares back, a face, pale and distorted, hovering behind the glass. The features seem stretched, twisted into an expression that is neither human nor entirely recognizable. Some viewers describe it as a silent scream, others as a cold, emotionless gaze. The house's violent history lingers in every room, and many believe the image reveals a trapped presence, something left behind after years of suffering and fear. What do you think is looking out of the window? Comment below. A man claims this photo was taken on an old mobile phone. He no longer remembers the exact circumstances, but the photographer lives on a Native American reservation in North Dakota, a place many consider spiritually powerful. The man explaining the image grew up nearby. He says the region has long been associated with tragic events and violent deaths. He has known the photographer most of his life and insists he lacks the technical skills to fabricate such an image. That belief is reinforced by one disturbing detail. To the right of a young girl in the photo, a terrifying figure can clearly be seen. Its outline is distorted and unnatural. It does not resemble a human being. The proportions seem wrong, as if something twisted is leaning into the frame. If this image is authentic, what is standing beside that girl? This photograph was taken around 2010. A girl had just received a new basic mobile phone and was simply testing the camera. At the time the photo was taken, she was alone in the house. Later, the image was sent to the ITV program This Morning for analysis. According to the family, experts declared the photo authentic. The show's representatives wanted to inspect the house, but the grandparents refused to allow a film crew inside. The property has a troubling history. Before the house was built, the land was reportedly pea fields. There is a story that a young girl once died there, allegedly struck by an old harvester. The story cannot be confirmed, but another field still lies nearby. Family members have repeatedly experienced strange events. They heard the front door locking and unlocking on its own when no one was near it. Recently, the grandparents moved out of the house. Since then, they claim no unexplained events have occurred. Was it coincidence? Or did that place hold something more? During a visit to the Myrtles plantation in St. Francisville, these women captured more than they expected in their photograph. Behind them, in a window, a ghostly face is clearly visible. The location has long been known for its dark history and chilling legends. The image seems to reveal the presence of something unexplained, as though the past briefly revealed itself. The photo left not only the visitors unsettled, but everyone who has seen it. The sense of a foreign presence is impossible to ignore. Who was watching them from that window? A man posted this photo online, searching for answers. He had been at a cemetery late in the evening. He always preferred quiet, deserted places. Only later did he notice something in the image, a dark figure that appears to be embracing him from behind. 3 years have passed, yet he still cannot explain how he walked away unharmed, or what stood so close to him that night. Who was holding him in that cemetery? This picture shows an ordinary family, smiling for a simple snapshot. But their mother noticed something disturbing and sent the image to people familiar with paranormal activity. Behind the girl stands a dark figure with a frightening face, clearer when the brightness is increased. The features do not resemble anyone the family knows. The expression appears twisted, unnatural, as if captured mid-whisper. The family still fears what this presence might mean for their future. Who do you think this face belongs to? The owner of this photograph wrote, "We captured this chilling image with our trail camera overlooking the garden where the children play during the day. The picture shows an unexpected visitor that terrified us when we reviewed the footage. Behind the swings to the left stands a translucent silhouette. It appears upright, motionless, and strangely out of place, neither solid nor fully transparent. Whether it was a real ghost or a camera malfunction remains unknown. What do you think the camera captured in the garden? Leave your thoughts below." A young woman was preparing for a long-awaited trip. As she stepped into the car, a family member snapped a photo to capture the moment. But when they looked at the image, someone on the back seat caught their attention. A figure sat behind her, faint, shaped like a person, yet not recognizable as anyone the family knew. Its outline looked too still, too shadowed, as though it blended into the dark interior of the car. After that day, no one heard from the girl again. What happened remains unknown. Who, or what, was sitting in the back seat? The owner of this unsettling photograph described himself as a skeptic until he saw what the camera had captured. The picture was taken inside an abandoned house on his stepfather's property. At the time, his stepfather was on the left, pulling bullets out of a wall, and nothing unusual seemed present. It wasn't until he reviewed the images later that he noticed something disturbing. In the background, partially hidden in the dim light, a distorted face appears, pale, hollow, and staring directly toward the camera. The expression looks frozen, impossibly rigid, like a mask or something carved from light and shadow. No one else had been inside the house. No neighbors, no passers-by. The building had been empty for years. Still, the face remains in the photo, impossible to explain away. Who do you think is staring from behind the wall? It was a normal party, adults chatting, children playing. Someone took a group picture of the kids. But later, one detail stood out. Behind a girl in a yellow jacket, a figure can be seen walking. Its shape is human-like, yet entirely monochromatic, washed in gray tones that do not match anything else in the room. Its form lacks detail, no clear face, no clothing, just a smooth, eerie silhouette drifting between the children. Everyone who attended the party insists they saw no such person. No costume matched it. No guest resembled it. So who, or what, was moving among the kids? What was this gray shape? A woman was celebrating a special day, moving into her new home. Friends and family arrived, congratulating her as she settled in. Someone snapped a photo to mark the occasion, but behind her stands a dark figure. Its shape is tall, shadowed, and unmistakably menacing, like something straight out of a horror film. Its eyes appear to glow faintly, staring directly at the camera, demanding to be seen. Many viewers believe the house was already occupied, just not by the living. Who do you think appeared behind her? Write your thoughts in the comments. Brittany explained that this photograph was taken in 2005 with a disposable Kodak camera. It captured an emotional moment for her family, the moment her brother finally woke from a coma, marking the first hopeful step in his recovery. Relatives gathered around his hospital bed, relieved and overwhelmed. But when the film was developed, something else appeared. On the left side of the photo, a dark figure stands near the bed. Its shape is human, yet strangely undefined, almost as if the shadows themselves had gathered into a silhouette. No one present remembered seeing anyone standing there, and no hospital staff matched the figure's appearance. The family has never understood who, or what, stood beside them at that moment. What was that figure? A group of friends gathered for a casual party. Later, while reviewing photos from the night, they found one that none of them could explain. On the couch beside them sits a figure with glowing eyes, long dark hair, and a distorted face. Its expression is twisted into something both menacing and unnatural. None of the friends remember anyone who looked like that. Some blamed the alcohol, others thought it must have been a camera error, but the figure's sharp features, the stare, and the way it leans slightly forward suggests something else, something that shouldn't have been there at all. What do you think this creature was? This photo was taken by an employee at a car dealership near closing time. The image appears to show a man standing inside the former owner's office. The unsettling part, the former owner had already passed away. According to the person who shared the image, the figure appears dressed, proportioned, and solid, almost indistinguishable from a living person. Viewers often comment that it truly looks like someone is standing in the room. But at that hour, no one else was present. Who was inside that office? The owner of these images shared a strange experience that occurred shortly after bringing home a new puppy. Wanting the puppy to feel safe, he slept on the couch beside it. During the night, motion sensor lights in the kitchen began turning on by themselves. He called out several times. Silence. Earlier that day, he had installed a camera pointed toward the back door. Not wanting to wake the puppy, he checked the live feed instead and took several screenshots. That's when he saw it. Reflected in the glass of the back door was a shape resembling a face, or possibly a figure. The reflection seemed to originate from the kitchen's side window, which faces a fenced garden. It looked as though someone was standing outside, watching. Gathering his courage, he went to check. No one was there. No footprints. No signs of movement. What appeared in the reflection remains unexplained. Who was standing outside that night? According to the man who shared this story, the sister of his acquaintance has felt followed for over 15 years. She described constant sensations of presence, sudden cold spots, faint rustling sounds, shadows moving where nothing should be. Recently, she managed to capture something on her phone. In the image, a semi-transparent silhouette stands close beside her. The figure appears almost human, yet not fully solid. She showed the photo to her brother. He passed it along. Was it a camera glitch? A trick of light? Or has something truly been standing beside her all these years? What do you think was captured in that photo? Write your thoughts in the comments. The owner of this picture explained that it was taken in San Clemente, California, by a friend of their son. The quality was not great, a simple nighttime phone photo taken in the Riviera Tunnel, but it needed no enhancement. In the darkness stands a shape that is not human, gray, thin, barely visible, almost crawling along the tunnel wall as if trying not to be noticed. Some viewers believe it's one of the most convincing captures of something non-human, something that moves in darkness, avoiding light, avoiding people. What do you think lurks in that tunnel? Write your thoughts below. In South Carolina, A legend tells of a spirit known as the Gray Man, a ghost said to appear on Polly's Island to warn residents of incoming hurricanes. According to the tale, the Gray Man is the spirit of a young man traveling to see his fiancée in 1822. On the way, he and his horse became trapped in the marsh and drowned. Since then, his ghost has wandered the coastline, searching for the woman he never reached. Witnesses say he brings no harm. In fact, he protects. After Hurricane Hugo, Jim and Clara Moore described on Unsolved Mysteries how they saw a man waving to them from the beach, only to vanish moments later. Their home survived the storm. Their neighbors' homes didn't. This photo allegedly captures the Gray Man himself. A tall, faint figure stands on the shore, quiet, distant, watching. Was this the spirit of Polly's Island? A woman took a photograph of her young granddaughter years ago. The girl sat in a chair, and, according to the grandmother, only the two of them were in the room. The picture stayed in the family archive until one day her daughter noticed something terrifying. Behind the child stood a figure, not blurred, not moving, not a shadow, a face, pale, still, and staring. Instead of eyes, two dark voids, as if gazing directly through the camera and into the observer. The family insisted no one else was present. No visitor, no one standing behind the girl. Yet the face was there, watching, not the child, but the lens. Watching anyone who dared to look at the photo. Since then, the picture has caused unease. Because it doesn't look like an accident. It looks like someone who had been there all along. Who do you think this face belonged to? A woman installed a small security camera in her bedroom to monitor the house while she traveled. One night she went to sleep as usual, unaware that this ordinary camera would capture something horrifying. The next morning she checked the footage and froze. Right beside her bed, a face appeared. Pale, distorted, staring directly into the camera. A cold wave ran down her spine. Zooming in made it worse. The features looked exhausted. The hair was messy. The eyes held a heavy, suffocating sadness. No sounds, no movement, just that silent, watching face lingering in the night. Who do you think stood beside her bed? This happened at the entrance of a hospital. The photo was taken personally by the staff member who shared the story. Everything seemed normal at first, an empty corridor, a quiet evening shift, nothing unusual. But when the picture was opened, a dark figure appeared at the very end of the hallway. It stood perfectly still. It wasn't hiding, wasn't moving, simply existing. The strangest part was the feeling it created, as if it was calling. Not with a gesture or motion, but with a quiet pull, a sense of being summoned, as if it wanted someone to come closer. Security cameras showed nothing. The guards reported nothing. No one saw anything, except the person holding the photo. And the photo became the only proof. Since then, the entrance feels different, because even without the camera, it sometimes feels like the figure is still there. What do you think was at the end of the hall? Write your thoughts in the comments. The owner explained that this photograph was taken around 2009 by his daughter and her friend while they were playing on the computer. The house was over 100 years old and already carried an unsettling atmosphere. The family tried repeatedly to find a logical explanation for what appeared in the frame, but none made sense. Between a hanging sheet and the doorway, something is clearly visible, a shape that does not belong, partially concealed yet undeniably present. To this day, he does not know what was captured and hopes someone else might recognize what they could not. What is hiding between the door and the fabric? the young woman took this photo in 2012 while she was home alone. She asks viewers not to focus on the selfie quality. Filters were not common back then. Behind her, clearly visible in the photograph, stands a figure with hollow, sunken eyes. There was no television, no mirror, only an empty corner where nothing could have created such an image. After the photo was taken, strange things began happening in the house. Objects fell at night. Loud knocks echoed through rooms. Footsteps were heard, as if someone walked across the floor. She searched for logical explanations. She looked for similar cases online. None gave her answers. She insists she shares the image not for attention, but to ask if anyone else has experienced something similar. She is exhausted from people dismissing it. For her, it was real. And she still does not know who stood behind her. Who was in that empty corner? This story came from a subscriber. It was December 30th when the power suddenly went out near the elevators. Wanting to show his friends just how dark the area had become, he decided to take a photo. At the time, his only thought was simple: it's so dark in here, this would make a crazy picture. But after looking at the image, he noticed something unexpected. A strange shape appeared in the darkness. He said he was genuinely shocked, and even a little scared, when he saw it. According to him, it could not have been light or a reflection. He was certain of that. Recently, after looking at the photo again, he noticed something even stranger. A shadow. Not just darkness, but what he describes as the shadow of a figure. He insists it could not have been another person, because he would have noticed someone standing there. So what was caught in that hallway? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken during a nighttime, haunted locations tour in Newcastle upon Tyne. The excursion included several historic and supposedly mysterious sites connected to local legends and unexplained stories. One of the stops was Newcastle Castle Keep, a medieval fortress known for its ancient history and unsettling reputation. During the tour, one participant took a photo inside a staircase area. At the moment, nothing unusual was noticed. But later, while reviewing the image, something disturbing was discovered. On the staircase, a pale figure can be seen descending the steps. Its shape is blurry, but distinct enough to resemble a human silhouette moving through the dim stone corridor. Because of the old architecture, shadows and reflections are often blamed for strange visuals in the castle. Still, many viewers felt this figure looked too deliberate to ignore. Who was walking down those stairs? Write your thoughts in the comments. On the right side is a photograph of the author's brother, who died of cancer in 2011. Years later, in a bathroom, a face suddenly appeared on a fogged-up window. It formed on its own, and looked disturbingly like him. The author insists that no one was in the room at that moment, and the image on the glass disappeared just as suddenly as it had appeared. A coincidence? A trick of the mind? Or did someone decide to remind them of their presence from the other side? What do you think appeared on the glass? Write in the comments. This photograph was taken at Peck Cemetery in Decatur, Illinois, a place long considered by locals to be one of the most mysterious and cursed locations in the area. At the time the photo was taken, only 2 people were present on the grounds, and both insist that neither of them appears in the image. Yet the photograph clearly shows a dark figure moving deeper into the cemetery. No one can explain where the silhouette came from. What do you think was walking among the graves? Write your thoughts in the comments. The owner of this photograph says the picture of her son was taken many years ago. During her pregnancy, doctors initially told her she was expecting twins. But later, she was informed that one of the babies had not survived and had been absorbed by her body. The photo was taken at Castillo de San Marcos in St. Augustine, Florida. Only later, while looking through the image, the woman noticed a strange detail that felt like a sign of the second child's presence. She admits that the discovery does not frighten her. Instead, it brings comfort. To her, this photo feels like proof that her son's twin is always near him, like a quiet guardian angel watching over him. What do you think appears in this photo? Share your opinion in the comments. The image shows a photograph of John Boulware and another taken after his fatal car accident in 1984. 16-year-old John Boulware died in a tragic car crash in Minnesota when he and 3 of his friends were driving to a Prince concert. After the accident, a police officer took several photographs of the crash site, and in one of them, a ghostly face appeared, said to resemble John himself. The eerie image became known as the Screaming Spirit or the Screaming Soul. The photograph sparked heated debate. Some believe it to be proof of life after death, while others insist it's nothing more than a photographic anomaly, a strange mix of light, reflections, and coincidence. This image was taken by a nurse in the intensive care unit of a Colorado hospital. She was testing the flash in a dark room when she accidentally captured something she couldn't explain. In the photo, an empty chair appears to be occupied by a faint, human-shaped mist, almost like someone sitting, hunched forward, watching quietly. No patients were in that room at the time. Staff members later claimed that several patients who had died there were seen in that same chair in previous photos. Coincidence? Or the spirit of someone who never left the ICU? A boy was playing with a new phone and took a picture of his mother. Later, when he looked at the photo, a pale, ghost-like face had appeared beside her, something that had not been there when the picture was taken. The woman says she does not smoke or vape, so smoke can be completely ruled out. The strange figure seemed to appear from nowhere. An optical illusion, or a spirit caught on camera. What do you think this face was? Share your thoughts in the comments. In this photograph, a strange anomaly can be seen near a young girl, an unclear form that does not fit into the scene and immediately draws attention. At the moment the picture was taken, no one present noticed anything unusual. Only later, when carefully examining the image, did this detail become obvious. It is this mysterious and difficult to explain figure that turned an ordinary family photo into a disturbing mystery, leaving behind far more questions than answers. What do you think this shape was? Write your thoughts in the comments. That evening, children were simply having fun near a swimming pool, recording everything on camera like any normal summer night. Nothing strange happened, and nobody expected anything unusual. Later, back at home, they excitedly began showing the photos to their parents. At first, everything looked ordinary: laughter, splashing water, darkening skies, and an empty pool area. But in one image, adults noticed something the children had completely missed. At the far edge of the pool sat a figure. It looked motionless, too clear and defined to feel like a shadow or accidental blur. And the family knew one thing for certain: there had only been 3 children present, and one of them had been holding the camera. Nobody else should have been there. That was what disturbed them most. The figure looked strangely real, as though someone had been silently sitting nearby, watching everything unfold from the darkness. Who do you think was sitting by the pool? Let everyone know in the comments. according to later stories, this image was passed from person to person before finally reaching the storyteller. A friend first shared it, later claiming it originally came from someone working at a children's home. The employee reportedly said the image had been taken during an ordinary group activity. Children were gathered inside during a normal event, and nothing strange stood out at first. But after reviewing the photo, people noticed something unsettling. Among the children in the background appeared the dark face of a child who was supposedly not there that day. The face looked disturbingly wrong. No eyes could be seen, yet it somehow felt as if the figure was staring directly into the camera. Some staff later recalled an old urban legend about children who appear only in photographs, echoes of those who are no longer there, but somehow continue to remain frozen inside images. What do you think was captured in this photo? Write in the comments. Sometime after their grandfather passed away, strange things reportedly began happening inside the house, things the family still struggles to explain. He had lived there for nearly his entire life, around 80 years. During the last 10 years, he had been confined to bed and rarely left his bedroom. That was also where he died. While alive, he often repeated that he would stay here forever, as if he could never fully leave the home behind. Then one day, in the same bedroom where he spent his final years, a shape slowly appeared, a figure eerily resembling someone lying on the edge of the bed. The figure looked motionless, heavy, frozen in the same position he had spent years in. Those who saw it felt something deeply unsettling, as though it was more than a shadow or trick of light, like one final appearance from someone who had never truly left. What do you think this was? Write in the comments. The owner of these photographs said they were taken around 20 years ago at a Boy Scout camp, only minutes apart. In the images, his son stands on the left while his nephew stands on the right. Earlier that same year, the boy had lost his mother. When the man first looked at the photograph, he noticed a strange figure standing near him. It immediately made him wonder if it could somehow be her, as though she had returned only to quietly watch over the child. Later, he showed the image to an assistant scoutmaster known for being unusually sensitive to things like this, without giving any explanation. The man looked at the photograph and immediately said something unexpected. It was not the boy's mother. According to him, it was the boy's grandmother, and she was watching over him. Who do you think was standing beside the child? Let everyone know in the comments. In the quiet town of Glenview, Illinois, stands the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, a place known for peace, prayer, and something unexplainable. Witnesses have long spoken of strange encounters within its walls, soft whispers, flickering lights, and fleeting silhouettes that seem almost angelic. One evening, a visitor captured a glowing figure standing near the altar. The image revealed a luminous human shape, bathed in light yet casting no shadow. Parishioners were stunned. Many claimed they could feel an overwhelming sense of calm and awe when looking at the photo, as if something divine had been caught on camera. Skeptics call it a trick of light. Believers, however, say it's proof that the sacred and the unseen sometimes share the same space. What do you think? Miracle or something else entirely? This chilling photo was taken during a paranormal investigation at a cemetery known for its ghostly activity. The camera caught what appears to be a blurred figure sprinting between the graves, something human-shaped, but too fast, too faint, too wrong. The photographer swears no one was in the frame. There was only silence, the rustle of leaves, and the faint hum of distant traffic. Yet when they reviewed the image, that shadow was there, as if running from something unseen. Those who have visited the cemetery say it often feels like you're being watched. Some leave with strange chills, others with unexplainable images on their phones. Was it just motion blur, or a restless soul fleeing the world of the dead? A woman shared a photo showing the moment her husband woke up, and the image gives the unsettling feeling that someone else was in the room. Cameras had been installed in the house to help him feel safe due to his agoraphobia. Yet one of those same cameras captured something for a fraction of a second. No one else was inside the house. No break-ins occurred. He was completely alone. Still, near the bed, a faint figure can be seen, positioned as if standing beside him, watching. The presence is subtle but undeniable once noticed. What do you think the camera recorded that night? Was he really alone? Write your opinion. Employees at a Lego factory in Monterrey, Mexico, stopped laughing when they began to suspect their workplace might not be empty after hours. Security cameras recorded a strange young woman standing on a staircase late at night. She slowly raised her head and looked directly into the camera. Witnesses said her eyes appeared unnaturally bright, almost glowing. She looked real, too real, yet her behavior felt wrong, unnatural, like someone pretending to be human. Then, according to reports, she walked straight through a wall and vanished. The footage was lost soon after. Some believe it was a ghost captured on camera. Others say it must have been a glitch or illusion. But those who saw it insist the feeling in that moment was pure dread. What do you think was seen on that factory camera? Share your thoughts in the comments. A young man described this as part of a long chain of strange coincidences. Years ago, his aunt lived in staff housing in Alaska. Her children often spoke about a little girl they saw near the house and inside the rooms. Adults dismissed the stories, but the children described her too often and too clearly, as if she truly existed. Years later, he took a photograph showing two children, and beside them appeared a blurred figure, faint yet clearly shaped like a small girl. When he saw the image, a chill ran through him. He was convinced it was the same girl the children had described years before. The resemblance felt too familiar to be random. Was it imagination, or had something remained there all along? What do you think was captured in this photo? This image was captured in 2018 by a man named Glenn in Michigan. He and his wife were relaxing at home when their security system suddenly triggered an alert. Motion detected near the house. There were no sounds outside, no footsteps, no voices. Yet the camera recorded something. When they reviewed the footage, a saved frame showed a strange silhouette above their car near the house. The shape does not resemble a person or an animal and does not match any common false alarm. It appears thin and dark, almost suspended in the air, as if formed from shadow itself. The sight left them shaken long after the alert ended. What do you think came near their home that night? This photograph was taken in 1949 at the Royal Hotel in the town of Bunjender by a journalist working for a local newspaper. It was a routine assignment, simply an image for an article about the old hotel. Nothing strange was noticed at the moment the photo was taken. Only after the film was developed did the unexplained figure become visible. A pale shape stands along the staircase, faint yet unmistakably human. The image soon became famous, earning the nickname, the Ghost of Bunjender. Today, the photograph is displayed inside the hotel alongside antique documents and objects dating back to the late 1800s, some discovered during renovations. More than 70 years have passed, yet the identity of the figure remains unknown. Was it just a trick of light, or a guest who never checked out? An old mansion in the Appalachian Mountains is a place locals prefer not to talk about. It is said the house has long been inhabited by more than just the living. 2 photographs were taken there by different people who did not know each other. The images were captured 1 week apart, on the 2nd floor of the abandoned estate. Both photographers insisted the house was empty, and neither saw anything unusual at the time. Yet in both pictures, in the exact same spot, a strange figure appears. The posture, the outline, even the position in the hallway are disturbingly similar, as if something stood there, waiting, both times. Coincidence seems unlikely. Light and shadow rarely repeat themselves so precisely. So who, or what, keeps returning to that 2nd floor, even decades later? This photo was taken accidentally. The man had already gone to bed when his daughter climbed under the covers beside him. While texting a friend, he quickly snapped a photo to send, barely glancing at the screen. Only the next day, while reviewing the image, did he notice something deeply unsettling. Behind the girl, a dark figure is clearly visible. It does not resemble a human silhouette. It appears positioned directly behind her, as if standing at the edge of the bed. Later, they attempted to recreate the same photo under identical conditions. None of the attempts produced anything even remotely similar. According to the owner, that failure only strengthened the feeling that the original image captured something unexplained. What was standing behind her that night? This image was taken in the early 2000s during a visit to an old prison. Something unusual appears in the frame. Because of the low quality of phone cameras at the time, the image is not as sharp or bright as modern photographs. Even so, the person who took it was shocked after noticing a face in the right corner of the picture. He claims it was a ghost. If no one was standing there, whose face was it? This picture looks as though it came from an old, long-forgotten album, one nobody should open after dark. A young woman stands in the foreground, but she is not the focus. The entire scene is filled with a strange, heavy stillness, the kind found only in places where the forest seems to whisper to itself. On both sides of her rise dark stone towers, resembling gateways into territory humans are not meant to enter. Their hollow openings look like watchful eyes, and the trees behind them seem to close tightly around the path. But the most disturbing detail is the blurred figure beside her. At first glance it resembles a camera error, yet when examined closely, it looks as if something unseen tried to reach for her at the last moment. Nothing about the image feels accidental. It seems to capture a moment that usually remains hidden on the other side of the living world, the moment when something cold and invisible comes too close. What do you think reached toward her? Share your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken in a garage. The woman in the picture was lost in thought while her husband snapped a photo. Everything felt quiet, almost peaceful, but behind her, something appears to be hiding. On the left side of the frame, a disturbing face emerges from the shadows. Its features are faint yet unmistakably human-like. Eyes, a mouth, a pale outline staring directly toward the camera. The husband still has no idea what he managed to capture that evening and hopes someone can explain it. Who, or what, was hiding behind her? In this image, a couple poses for a cheerful photo, unaware of the blurry silhouette standing beside them. The figure has no face, only a vague shape, almost human but wrong in every detail. It leans subtly toward them, as though observing the couple closely. The outline looks like a ghostly form frozen mid-movement. There is an eerie story linked to this figure. People who unknowingly appear near it supposedly never live long after the photo is taken. Whether coincidence or something darker, the thought alone is unsettling. What do you think this faceless figure was? In 2013, a worker in the film and television industry spent many nights on duty inside the abandoned Linda Vista Hospital in Los Angeles, a location infamous for its unsettling atmosphere. The building was massive, silent, and deeply unnerving. When traveling from one part of the set to another, workers often had to run through the empty hallways just to avoid the oppressive silence. Years later, while transferring old photos to a new computer, he came across a picture taken in one of those hallways. At the far end of the corridor, barely visible, stood a figure. Enlarging the image only made it more disturbing. The shape appears humanoid but blurred, its edges unnatural, as though it doesn't quite belong in the physical world. No crew member had been in that part of the building at the time. In the abandoned hospital, something seemed to be walking the halls long after the patients and staff were gone. What do you think was captured in the corridor? This photograph has remained a source of fear within one family for decades. The man who shared it explained that he had been fascinated by the paranormal since childhood, visiting many haunted locations without ever finding proof, except this one picture. The original photograph was taken long before the internet existed. It shows his brother's family visiting their childhood home, the grandfather, now deceased, and his 11 siblings gathered in the house where they grew up. The building was empty at the time, a single-story home with very little furniture left. Everyone visible inside the house appears in the photo. No children were present, but when the image is enlarged and the window on the left is examined, something else emerges. The faint outline of a young girl standing behind the glass, holding what looks like a doll. Her form appears small, pale, and entirely out of place. No one under 60 was present that day. No one remembers a child being there. The discovery still terrifies the family. Was this a child from the past, or something else? Write your thoughts in the comments. Years ago, a woman took several photos of her husband on their terrace using a basic digital camera. Later, while uploading the images to her computer, she deleted the ones she didn't plan to keep, until one photograph stopped her cold. Behind her husband, floating above the garden bed and fence, a translucent figure appeared. It looked almost like a person watching from a distance, yet its body had no solid outline. It hovered in the air, pale and shapeless, as if forming itself from mist. The family had encountered strange events in the house before, unexplained noises, movements, and shadows, but nothing like this had ever shown up in her camera. There was nothing on the terrace that could reflect light that way, nothing that could create a shape like that. What do you think this hovering figure was? This photograph, taken in 2009, continues to trouble experts even today. The ruined castle, a 14th century fortress perched on a remote headland near North Berwick, has stood abandoned for centuries. Soldiers of Oliver Cromwell severely damaged it in 1651, and since then the structure has remained silent, wind-scarred, and empty. Christopher Atchison captured the image during a visit. What should have been a simple landscape photograph revealed something inexplicable, the figure of a woman standing inside the ruins. Her form appears pale, motionless, and distinctly human. But the castle has been uninhabited for generations. No actors, no reenactors, no tourists were near that spot during the shot. The figure stands alone among the crumbling stone, as if watching from the past, or from somewhere far stranger. Who was the woman in the ruins? This photograph, taken around 1938, was sent to Dr. Kimberly Molto, a neuroscientist in Ontario, and later posted online. The original photo was taken by a woman documenting the before and after condition of her basement ahead of renovations. In the picture, a man is sweeping the dark corner of the basement. The wife confirmed that the man in the image was her husband, but there was a problem. Her husband had died of a massive heart attack in that basement several years before the photograph was taken. So who was sweeping the floor? What do you think this figure is? This photograph lay untouched in an old album for years. A family evening, a cozy living room. Everything looked ordinary until someone noticed a face between the husband and wife. Distorted, empty-eyed, out of place. But the strangest part wasn't the face itself. It was the fact that the face did not exist in the original print. It appeared later, only on the digital copy. At first they blamed file corruption. But with every new save, every new upload, the face grew clearer, sharper, as if remembering what it once looked like. As if returning. Family members recognized it. It was their son, the one who died in an accident they rarely discussed. He had always been the quiet one, always standing between them. And now, even in the photograph, he was standing there again, waiting to be seen. What do you think happened to this picture? Share your thoughts below. She had never paid much attention to the photograph. It sat in a box of old memories, a circular snapshot taken after graduation. They sat around a table, smiling, relaxed. Everything seemed ordinary. But 20 years later, while going through the photos again, she noticed what she had never seen before. Behind them stood figures, 3 at least, blurred, half-formed, looming in the dark background. One had no face at all, just smooth skin. Another had hollow spaces where eyes should be. She remembered the evening clearly. No one else had been there. The figures looked disturbingly close, as if the past had reached forward through the photo, trying to be noticed. Who were the shadows behind them? This happened on November 28, 2009, during the tour of Mary King's Close in Edinburgh. They were the last ones in the group, lingering near the exit, and decided to take a few pictures as souvenirs. Nothing unusual happened, just a faint feeling of being watched. Days later, while looking through the photos, one image froze them in place. In the doorway, a doorway that had been locked and inaccessible, a face appears. Only a face. No body, no shadow, just a glowing head, suspended in the air, staring into the camera. Its eyes are bright, unnatural. Its expression empty, persistent. No one could have stood there. After the tour group left, the corridor was sealed. Yet the face remained in the photograph, illuminated from within. Who, or what, appeared in that doorway? These two photos were taken 2 years apart in the same room. Nothing unusual, just regular snapshots, until the family began examining them closely. They hadn't known at the time that the child often talked to someone no adult could see. He called him his friend, said he visited when adults weren't looking. In the first photo, the boy stands turned to the right, toward what seems like empty space. But a faint figure appears beside him, as if he's speaking to it. In the second photo, he sits calmly, but the same shape appears again, closer this time, almost protective. The more they tried to understand it, the less sense it made. Who was the child talking to? This story deeply affected those who heard it. The lower image is an old family photograph taken in 2001. In it, a young woman stands with her father and grandmother. Just a few months later, her father passed away after a serious illness. The upper image was taken recently by the woman's son while driving past the same location. He said he felt compelled to take the photo because of a strange effect. Something about the image felt unusual. Later, when they examined it closely, they were stunned. In the new photo, a shape appeared behind the woman, something that strongly resembled her late father. The resemblance to the old family picture was too precise to dismiss. Explanations about shadows, reflections, or marks on the glass did not align with what they saw. It looked as though her father was sitting just behind her once again, watching, protecting. Was it coincidence, or something more? A truck driver sent this photograph to a friend after a very strange night. During a video call, the driver suddenly became nervous. He repeatedly looked over his shoulder and said he felt as though someone was inside the cab with him. It seemed to him that something was standing directly behind him, silently watching. To convince himself it was only his imagination, he took a photograph. At the time, nothing unusual was noticed. Later, however, while carefully examining the image, they spotted a strange figure on the left side. A dark silhouette with blurred features appeared to be peering out from the darkness beside the driver. The most unsettling part was that the driver claimed he was completely alone. For years, truck drivers have shared stories about a mysterious presence that appears on isolated highways and follows those traveling alone at night. Many dismiss these tales as legends, until they experience something unexplained themselves. After that trip, the driver reportedly avoids taking routes after sunset whenever possible. What do you think was riding with him that night?
I hit the rooftop doors with the proton pack, softly buzzing. PKE me to shook like it caught some uncomfortable discussion. And I saw that grin and froze. My whole brain started jumping like, wait, stay puffed, no way. Tell me reality's drunk or something. See, back when we were kids, he was tiny, fit right beside me at lunches. Used to steal fries on my plate with those little marshmallow fingers. We rode bikes, he stopped every block for official observations. Stand over ants like a detective, working insect investigations. At movie nights, he eat all snacks before the damn intro loaded. I shrugged, the first 30 minutes suck. I kept your evening focused. Man said it with a straight face too. Whole room emotionally folded, like you really thought snack robbery had become community service. But now I look up, and the stairs where the clouds started bunching. Whole city turned tiny, my childhood hit catastrophic proportions. Then blue beams crossed behind me, I spun around like, wait, don't. And watched my best friend burning, still waving while he was falling. Who you gonna call? Man, I'm emotionally glitched. That's my marshmallow butter from the old school moments we lived. Big soft part in the ceiling had whole soul wrapped in fluff on the grin. Now the sky lights up, and I'm like, nah, him. Who you gonna call? Man, I'm emotionally glitched. That's my marshmallow butter from the old school moments we lived. Big soft part in the ceiling had whole soul wrapped in fluff on the grin. Now the sky lights up, and I'm like, nah, him.
The owner of this photo insisted the security camera was brand new. He left it charging on the nightstand before going out to meet friends. The motion detection feature sent an alert to his phone while he was at the pub. Movement detected. Photos saved. When he opened the images, his breath caught. A dark, blurry figure stood inside his bedroom. Poor quality or not, the outline looked human, or something disturbingly close to human. People who saw the image noticed another detail. The house stood in Britain, where many homes are built over old underground passages used by monks during medieval sieges. And no one knows what might still move through those tunnels at night. What do you think entered the bedroom? Recently, motion sensors at Chester Castle went off. The surveillance cameras showed a faceless figure standing near the old gate, where a medieval tower once stood. A guard arrived with a large dog, but the moment he stepped out of the car, he felt as if countless unseen eyes were watching him. The dog, usually fearless, lowered its ears, growled, and refused to move. Central Control demanded a full inspection. The guard walked along the wall, checking every dark corner, but found no intruder, no damage, no tracks. Only thick silence and the gut-deep sensation of someone standing directly behind him. The camera continued capturing the shadow, but in real life, the space was empty. English Heritage later wrote in their report that the guard was genuinely frightened, something extremely rare for him. Officially, they didn't call it a ghost, but they didn't rule out something connected to the castle's long, haunted history. A place where, according to legend, the shadows of old prisoners still wander. What do you think appeared at the gate? Share your thoughts below. The owner of this image, Caitlin Frances Richmond, explained that they had taken part in an overnight tour at the Myrtles plantation. Later, while reviewing the photos, her father-in-law noticed something strange in one of the images. Deep in the frame, standing near the house and partially hidden in shadow, appears to be the figure of a child. The outline is blurry, but the shape resembles a small boy or girl dressed in old-fashioned clothing. This immediately raised questions. Could it possibly be connected to one of the Woodruff children, whose story is often linked to legends surrounding this location? According to the family, no children or other people were standing nearby when the photo was taken. That is exactly why this image became so heavily discussed. Who was standing beside the house? Write your thoughts in the comments. The author explained that this photo was taken on a mobile phone while relaxing outdoors with a friend. They had built a small campfire, were joking around, and casually taking pictures. Nothing unusual seemed to be happening. Later, while reviewing the photos, they noticed something strange. Behind the author, a human-like figure appears to be emerging from the darkness. On the image, the shape looks surprisingly clear. Its presence creates the unsettling impression that someone else may have been standing nearby. Both insist they were completely alone at the time. No one else was around. That is what made the discovery especially disturbing. The location was also rumored to be close to ancient tribal lands, which only added to their discomfort after noticing the figure. So who stepped into the frame? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken on the grounds of the Riverside Indian School in Anadarko, Oklahoma. The image shows an empty schoolyard. However, when looked at closely, it seems as though silhouettes of children playing can be seen on the playground. The author wonders whether this is simply an illusion of light and shadow, or if the camera captured something more. The photo leaves behind a quiet sense of unease, suggesting that sometimes cameras record what the human eye cannot see. What do you think is visible on the playground? Share your thoughts in the comments. In one episode of the TV show Ghost Adventures, viewers noticed a strange detail that nobody on the crew saw during filming. The moment lasts only a few seconds. The team is standing in a kitchen inside a house in Reseda, and everything appears normal for an investigation. But after rewatching the footage, fans noticed what looked like a face appearing above the host's shoulder, reflected against the refrigerator. At first, it barely stands out. It looks like a shadow or some kind of image defect. But when the frame is paused, features resembling a human face become visible, as if someone, or something, was silently watching from deep within the shot. Later, the clip sparked endless debate. Some believe it was nothing more than an optical illusion or strange lighting. Others call it one of the creepiest accidental moments ever captured on the show, a detail nobody noticed until it was already too late. What was it? Let everyone know in the comments. This photo was discovered in the memory of an old phone found near a forest trail several days after its owner vanished. In the image stands a strange pale figure with an unnaturally stretched shape, motionless in the darkness. The person who took the photo was never found. At first, investigators believed it was simply motion blur caused by camera movement. But another detail made the story far more disturbing. According to friends of the missing person, shortly before disappearing, he had repeatedly said that someone, or something, had been watching him at night. And some believe whatever appeared in that photo may have taken him. What was standing in the darkness? Let everyone know in the comments. A father took a photo of his daughter during a visit to Tamworth Castle in the English county of Staffordshire. At first glance, the picture looked like an ordinary family photo. But later, people noticed two strange figures in the background, vaguely resembling human silhouettes. The image quickly caught the attention of paranormal enthusiasts because the castle has long been surrounded by ghost stories. According to local legends, the spirit of a 9th century nun is said to wander the halls, while visitors have reported mysterious footsteps, shadowy figures, and unexplained shapes moving through the ancient corridors. Many believe the camera accidentally captured something supernatural. What do you think was caught in the background? Tell everyone in the comments. On March 13, 2025, several women staying temporarily in one house later described a strange and unsettling experience that happened that day. Everything reportedly seemed normal, until one photograph was taken inside an old mansion tied to a local legend known as the White Owl of High Hamptons. At first, nothing unusual stood out in the dim image. But after zooming in, something appeared behind the group that allegedly had not been there during the moment of the photo. A pale human face slowly emerged in the background, blurred and strangely faded, as though dissolving into the darkness itself. According to local stories, the place is connected to Margaret Whitmore, a wealthy woman from the early 20th century who reportedly lived alone in a massive mansion in the Hamptons. Rumors claimed she practiced mysticism and performed rituals, while a white owl living in the attic was believed to be her spiritual protector. After her mysterious disappearance, stories spread of a tall woman dressed in white appearing unexpectedly. Witnesses claimed the sound of an owl could be heard first, followed by the chilling feeling that someone unseen was standing nearby, watching. That is why many people believe this image was not an accident at all, but another glimpse of the same presence said to appear where it is least expected. What do you think was hiding in the photo? Tell everyone below. At the cemetery, the woman had only been there with her daughters, both standing behind her. She had been photographing orange light shining through the trees and noticed nothing unusual. Only later, while reviewing the photo at home, something unsettling appeared. Near one of the gravestones stood a blurred silhouette that no one remembered seeing. At first glance, it almost blended into the shadows, but the longer people looked, the stranger it seemed. Was it simply light, movement, or something standing silently among the graves? What do you think was captured there? Write in the comments. This photograph was taken in a restaurant and later caught the attention of both internet users and skeptics. At first glance, it looked like an ordinary scene filled with customers and a normal interior, but some people noticed something strange hidden in the background. According to them, a shadowy figure resembling a person could be seen, leading to online discussions about a possible ghost accidentally caught on camera. Skeptics believed it could simply be a reflection, strange lighting, or an optical illusion. The image quickly spread online and became another mystery people argued about for years. What do you think was captured in the photo? Let everyone know in the comments. The girls were simply joking around and trying on costumes while taking photos in a room where they believed they were alone. But later, while reviewing one of the pictures, they noticed a strange figure reflected in the mirror, something that, according to them, should not have been there. The unclear shape looked as though someone else had briefly appeared in the reflection. It left them confused and deeply unsettled, as they could not find any explanation for what they had seen. Since then, the image has stayed in their minds, and every time they look at it again, they feel uneasy and notice new details hidden in the reflection. What do you think appeared in the mirror? Comment below. In 2014, a photograph spread online in which users claimed a mysterious dark figure could be seen standing behind a singer. The image quickly drew attention and sparked countless discussions, as the silhouette looked unusual and gave the unsettling impression that someone, or something, else had been there. Fans and users came up with different explanations, ranging from an accidental shadow or lighting effect to an optical illusion. Others believed the image might be something paranormal. Despite the debates, no clear explanation for the strange silhouette was ever found, and the photo remains a popular example of internet arguments about ghosts in pictures. What do you think was standing behind her? Write in the comments. This photograph was taken in 2013 during a party with classmates. Later, while looking back through the pictures, the group noticed a strange girl standing in the background. No one present could remember who she was or whether she had even been at the party at all. What frightened everyone the most was her face, especially her eyes, which appeared to glow in the darkness, creating a deeply unsettling feeling. Years later, the friends still returned to the photo, wondering who the mysterious figure caught in the frame could have been. What do you think they saw? Write in the comments. Relatives had gathered for a family photo, and at first, nothing seemed unusual. But the following day, one of them noticed something disturbing in the background. Behind the family, there appeared to be a large figure with a frightening face. What made it even stranger was how unnaturally large the silhouette looked compared to everyone in the picture. After the photo was shown to the rest of the family, many could hardly believe what they were seeing. Was it only an illusion, or something standing behind them unnoticed? What do you think it was? Let everyone know in the comments. A woman took a mirror selfie and later, while looking through the image, noticed something terrifying behind her, a figure that looked almost ghost-like. After being posted online, the photo quickly went viral and gained over 1 million views. The image sparked heated discussions online. Some users searched for a rational explanation, while others described what they saw as something sinister, even demonic. To this day, the photo remains one of the internet's most discussed examples of strange figures appearing in pictures. What do you think was standing behind her? Let everyone know in the comments. A woman took this photograph after an evening shift at a hospital. The day had been especially difficult. Earlier that night, a patient had passed away, and the atmosphere in the department remained heavy and unsettling. Late that evening, while inside a workroom, she casually took a picture without thinking much of it. But later, while reviewing the image, she noticed a shadowy figure in the darkness that, according to her, had definitely not been there at the time. The shape appeared far too clear to be an ordinary shadow, and its outline looked strangely human. Soon, a disturbing thought crossed her mind. Could it have been the same patient who passed away earlier that day, returning for one final goodbye? What do you think she captured in the photo? Write in the comments. This photograph was taken by a group of tourists during a visit to the Denver mine in Chipinque, Monterrey, Nuevo Leon. At the time, no one noticed anything unusual. Only later, while reviewing the picture, did they notice a mysterious figure standing behind the group. According to witnesses, the silhouette resembled a person standing deep in the frame. Some believe the image may have captured the ghost of a miner who had once died in that area. What do you think appeared in the mine? Share your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was posted online and showed a young boy. Later, his mother noticed a strange face behind him, something she described as frightening and far too unusual to seem like an ordinary shadow or lighting effect. She remembered how, as a child, her son often spoke about imaginary friends and claimed he sometimes saw strange figures near him that she herself could never see. At the time, she dismissed his stories. Years later, after her son had passed away, she looked at the photograph again and noticed the mysterious face once more. It made her wonder whether there had been something more to his stories than simple childhood imagination. What do you think was hiding behind him? Write in the comments. A woman claimed that she once complained to clinic staff about a child who, according to her, had been entering her father's hospital room. She said the child played near his bed and even pulled at the tubes connected to him. The staff's response shocked her. Employees explained that minors were strictly forbidden from entering patient rooms, especially at that hour, and no children had entered the department at all. After hearing this, the woman asked her father that if the child appeared again, he should take a picture. Later, her father took this photograph. When the image was shown to staff, no one could explain who appeared in it. According to employees, no child matching the description had been registered at the clinic, and there were no records of children being hospitalized during that time. The photo clearly showed a childlike figure with an unusually pale face. Was it coincidence, strange lighting, or something that still has no explanation? What do you think? Write in the comments. After returning home, a woman took this photograph to send to her family WhatsApp chat and let relatives know she had arrived safely. At the time, the picture seemed completely ordinary. But later, while reviewing it, she noticed a strange figure reflected in the mirror. The reflection looked unsettling, as though someone else had been standing in the room beside her. According to her, no one else had been in the house at that moment. What do you think was reflected in the mirror? Let everyone know in the comments. A group of young people took a late-night photograph without thinking much about it. But later that night, strange noises began echoing through the house, sounds they could not explain. The next morning, one of them sent the image to his mother, who noticed something unsettling in the background, a strange figure standing on the balcony. The discovery left the family disturbed and filled with questions about what had really appeared in the frame. Since then, the young people have claimed to experience constant anxiety and nervous tension while trying to find a rational explanation for what happened. What do you think appeared on the balcony? Let everyone know in the comments. In an ordinary family photograph, relatives later noticed a strange figure in the background, something they had paid no attention to at the time the picture was taken. After some time, however, they began to feel that the silhouette resembled their grandmother, who had passed away only a few days earlier. Only days later, their grandfather also passed away. After this, the family became convinced that the mysterious figure in the image might somehow have been connected to their grandmother, as if she had returned one final time before taking him with her. What do you think was captured in the background? Share your thoughts in the comments. This photograph, submitted by Ray Abbott, was taken inside the White Hart pub in Cranley after its renovation and is considered by him to be one of the most convincing images collected during years of observation. He claims that both he and his girlfriend are sensitive to spiritual energy, which is why they paid special attention to the photograph. In the image, they believe a remarkably clear silhouette can be seen, one that does not resemble a random shadow or reflection. The unusual clarity of the figure is what sparked discussion. To them, the image may represent a lingering presence within a building that retains something unexplained even after renovations and changes to the interior. Could this figure be explained, or is it something more mysterious? This image was taken from dashcam footage. The person who captured it believes the photograph may show an anomalous figure, which was interpreted as the spirit of an Aboriginal person because the recording was made near an iron ore mine in the Pilbara region of Western Australia. The image attracted attention due to the unusual silhouette visible in the frame. However, its true nature remains uncertain and may be related to camera conditions, lighting effects, or movement during the recording. What do you think appears in this image? The photographer who captured this image of a woman on a staircase believes that ghosts are real and that the people who once lived in the house were real as well. He says he has been attempting to uncover their identities, life stories, and possible connection to the reported activity within the building. According to him, the more than 100-year-old Victorian home is equipped with 18 surveillance cameras to document any unusual occurrences. In one image taken on the staircase, a blurred silhouette can be seen, which he interprets as a possible ghost. What do you think this figure could be? A motion-activated camera recorded a flash of light early in the morning, after which the system automatically highlighted one frame as containing a person. In the image that raised questions, no clearly recognizable figure can be seen. Nevertheless, the motion detection algorithm classified the object as human. This led to speculation about whether the camera captured an actual person, a random reflection of light, or something far more unusual. How would you explain this detection? At first glance, this photograph taken in a South Carolina cemetery appears completely ordinary. However, a strange silhouette can be seen in the background. The figure resembles someone standing among the gravestones, giving the image a mysterious and unsettling atmosphere. According to the photographer, the figure appears ghost-like and lacks clear definition, creating the impression that something unexpected may have been present in the scene. What do you think is standing among the graves? This photograph was taken at night at a firefighters' camp near Bent Creek in Asheville. At the time, nobody paid much attention to it. Around 130 random photos had been taken that evening simply to pass the time. Everything changed later that night. Around 3 in the morning, a mother woke from a dream in which a man supposedly instructed her to look at the fire. The family then began reviewing every photograph from that evening until they reached this particular image. According to them, this was the photo that immediately stood out. A human face seemed to emerge from the flames. Some even claimed they could make out a beard, hands, and facial features. Do you see a face in the fire? A frame captured on video at the historic Tryon Palace complex in North Carolina sparked widespread attention after a blurred figure resembling a woman in an old-fashioned dress was noticed standing in a doorway. In the footage, the silhouette appears only briefly and seems to pass by without interacting with the surrounding environment, leading to extensive discussion in the media and on social networks. The people who recorded the video believe they may have captured a lingering presence, the spirit of a servant who died during the 1798 fire that began in the basement and spread through much of the building. The connection to the site's tragic history is what makes the image especially unsettling. It feels as though the past briefly slipped into the present, leaving behind only the shadow of a figure frozen between two eras. What do you think was captured in this frame? Let everyone know in the comments. A man claims that one night he photographed his cat after it began hissing at the glass doors leading to the courtyard for no apparent reason. At first, the image seemed completely ordinary and was set aside. Later, while viewing the photograph on a computer, the couple noticed a strange silhouette reflected in the window, the figure of a small girl. According to them, there were no children in the house, and the building itself was very old, making the discovery even more unsettling. Since then, the photograph has remained a source of questions and concern. They continue to wonder whether the image was caused by light and reflections or whether something unexpected truly appeared in the photograph. What do you think was reflected in the glass? In a photograph taken near Jeffrey Epstein, some observers have focused on a strange figure visible in the background. A blurred silhouette can be seen in the shadows behind him, and some viewers interpret it as something non-human due to its unusual head shape and disproportionate appearance. The detail quickly became the subject of speculation and conspiracy theories. Some believe it is simply a lighting effect, image distortion, or an ordinary object in the frame, while others see something far more mysterious and attempt to connect it to extraterrestrial theories. What do you think this figure really is? Many people are familiar with the childhood idea of imaginary friends, but what if some of them were not imaginary at all? According to the photographer, this image appears to show a woman who was not supposed to be present when the picture was taken. Upon closer inspection, a seated figure can be seen beside a child, and its appearance has left many viewers unsettled. The figure seems to be calmly sitting next to the child as though it had always been there, despite claims to the contrary. Its outline appears solid enough that some people do not dismiss it as a simple shadow or photographic defect. That uncertainty is what makes the image disturbing. It leaves open the possibility that someone may have been present in the frame without anyone noticing at the time. Who do you think is sitting beside the child? This photograph from Wakefield, Yorkshire, taken inside a dark public restroom, initially appears to be nothing more than an ordinary snapshot. The girls who took the picture insist that nobody else was inside at the time. However, while reviewing the image, they noticed something disturbing. In the area where darkness nearly consumes all light, something begins to emerge. Many describe it as a face, not fully formed or clearly defined, but seemingly growing out of the darkness itself. That impression is what makes the photograph especially unsettling. It creates the feeling that the darkness may be concealing something that becomes visible for only a brief moment. Do you see a face hidden in the shadows? During a 2-hour nighttime tour of Waverley on a Friday evening, visitors reported witnessing unusual activity, including numerous shadowy figures and ghost-like silhouettes. In one photograph that generated significant discussion, the photographer noticed what appeared to be the image of a young girl sitting in a window. At the same time, he acknowledged that the bright area above the figure could simply be a trick of perception and the brain's tendency to recognize familiar facial features. The image remains open to interpretation, leaving unanswered whether it shows an optical illusion or a coincidence created by shadows and light. What do you see in the window? This photograph was taken in the attic of a workplace located inside a restaurant that was once both a private home and a theater. Over the past 10 years, employees have repeatedly reported strange events that they associate with possible paranormal activity. This time, they believe they may have captured something on camera. Deep within the room, a dark silhouette can be seen. They describe it as a shadow ghost, a figure seemingly hidden within the dim light of the attic. The shape appears unstable and indistinct, almost as if it does not fully belong to the physical world. For that reason, the employees consider it a possible visual sign of something unexplained within the building where they work. What do you think is hiding in the attic? This photograph was taken 35 years ago and shows a boy standing beside an empty monster truck. However, after the film was developed, something strange was noticed. In the only photograph of the vehicle, it appeared that someone was sitting inside. According to the photographer, the silhouette was visible not only on the print but also on the negative, making the situation even more puzzling. The question remains, was it a shadow, a reflection, or something that unexpectedly appeared in the frame? What do you think was inside the truck? Music played and applause filled the air as the procession moved along. Nothing seemed unusual at the time, and nobody expected the moment to become the subject of heated debate online. When the footage was later reviewed in slow motion, viewers noticed something unsettling inside the carriage. Among the reflections and glare, a dark face with unnaturally glowing eyes appeared for a fraction of a second. It seemed to be staring directly into the camera. The strangest part was that nobody was standing near that area. What do you think appeared inside the carriage? The old house had been abandoned for years. Peeling walls, a creaking staircase, and deep silence created the feeling that time had stopped long ago. When the photograph was taken with a flash, nobody noticed anything unusual. Later, while reviewing the image, attention was drawn to a strange figure at the top of the stairs. A semi-transparent silhouette with a blurred face appeared frozen in the corner, as if watching anyone brave enough to climb higher. Some believe it is simply an illusion created by light and shadow on an old wall. Others think the camera accidentally captured something that should not have been there. What do you see in the image? The owner of this photograph claims that she captured an image remarkably similar to a friend who passed away several years earlier. At first glance, the picture appeared completely ordinary. However, upon closer inspection, she noticed a strange figure seemingly suspended directly above her. The dark, barely visible shape immediately caught her attention and caused a strong sense of unease. According to her, its features resembled someone from her past. What disturbed her most was that the figure appeared to be floating in midair, motionless above the spot where she stood when the photo was taken. She insists that nobody else was in the room at the time, making the appearance of the silhouette even harder to explain. After discovering the image, she began feeling uneasy in her own home and often wondered whether something similar could happen again. Because of this experience, she now approaches indoor photography with caution, worried that another unexplained figure could appear in future photos. What do you think she captured? The owner of the photograph said it was taken in 2017. His brother photographed him while he was observing wildlife. Later, while reviewing the images on a computer, their father noticed something unusual in the background, what appears to be a face looking out from the vehicle's windshield. When the image is enlarged, it becomes even more noticeable. According to the owner, the objects on the ground near the vehicle were simply items taken out of the trunk. To some people, the figure in the glass looks unexplained or even paranormal. Others believe it could be a reflection, a shadow, an object inside the vehicle, or an example of pareidolia, when the brain recognizes familiar patterns, such as faces, in random shapes. What it actually was may never be known, but it remains open to interpretation. What do you think was really there? This photo was taken in 2020. At the edge of a forest clearing, hidden among tall grass, a large figure can clearly be seen. At first, it could easily be mistaken for a shadow or a random silhouette. But when the image is enlarged, it appears to be more than just a trick of light. Many believe the photograph may have captured Sasquatch, the legendary creature said to inhabit the remote forests of North America. Witness descriptions often portray it as a massive human-like figure covered in thick hair, rarely seen on camera. That is exactly why images like this continue to spark debate. Coincidence, mistaken perception, or a rare encounter with a creature of legend? What do you think? During a 3-hour paranormal tour on April 26th, a visitor's son took this photo in a dark, empty staff quarters room using an infrared camera. When he showed the image to the tour guide, even she was shocked by what she saw. The photograph appears to show a woman's face, or possibly even two faces. What do you think was captured here? Let everyone know in the comments. The owner of this photograph said she took it in her garden at night. The moon was so bright that the entire yard looked almost like daylight. She sent the photo to her daughter. The next day, her daughter asked her to zoom in on the area beneath the tree on the right side. That was when they noticed it. A strange figure appeared to be watching from the darkness. But the homeowner insists there was nobody there at all. Even now, they are not sure what was captured in the image. What do you think was hiding beneath the tree? Inside a residential building in Turkey that had long been abandoned and prepared for demolition, one final unsettling story emerged. According to local residents, nearly all families had already moved out, leaving the building completely empty. It was scheduled to be demolished within days. But one day before work was supposed to begin, a neighbor noticed something strange in the window of one apartment. For a brief moment, it looked as though a dark figure was standing inside. A human-like silhouette. Just for a second. Rumors surrounding the building only grew stronger because of an older story tied to the apartment. Locals claimed that a tragedy had once happened there involving the death of a woman. No one has ever confirmed the details, but the story became deeply rooted in neighborhood gossip. So if the building was empty, who was standing in that window? Write your thoughts in the comments. During a summer trip to Bilbao, Spain, a tourist entered the Cathedral de Santiago and began taking photos of its interior. The light was warm, the air still. Nothing seemed unusual until later, back at the hotel. In the center of one photo, a ghostly figure appeared, the faint image of a man with a beard and solemn eyes, hovering just above the floor. Some said it resembled St. James, the church's patron. Even more curious, a glowing orb floated near the figure's chest, right at the center of the image. Was it a miracle, or a message from something divine, or something else entirely? What do you think was captured in this sacred place? During a wedding in Toowoomba, Australia, ghost hunters captured this haunting image, a husband and wife sharing their first dance. The room glows with joy and light, but just to the right of the couple, in a soft beam of light, stands a small girl. Her form is faint, but her face is clear, curious, almost smiling, as if she wants to join in. No one remembered a child being there. No guests were nearby when the picture was taken. Some say she's the spirit of a young girl who once lived on the land where the venue now stands. It's one of the few ghost photos that seems innocent, almost sweet, but no one can be sure. What do you think? A lost child spirit, or just a trick of the camera? S. Palmer, fascinated by stories of spirits, once set out to photograph proof of the supernatural. Accompanied by an army officer, he spent the night inside a house known for its hauntings. For hours, nothing happened. No footsteps, no whispers, no movement. Then, around 2:45 a.m., a strange light appeared in one of the rooms. Palmer lifted his camera and took a single photo using the flash. When the film was developed, his hands began to shake. A human figure stood in the glow, clear and undeniable. There had been no one in that room. No one living, at least. Was it a trick of light, or had Palmer captured someone who never left the house? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments. In Glasgow, artist Tim Sandys was working late in his basement studio, a place that once served as a hospital. The old pipes rattled, the fluorescent lights flickered and buzzed, their sensors unreliable. It was a dark, stormy night, and the halls were empty. Curious about the flickering lights, he began recording slow-motion footage of the corridor. When reviewing the clips, something caught his attention. In several frames, a small figure appeared, a little girl, standing at the far end of the hallway, peering out from behind a door. Her face was barely visible, her outline faint but distinct. The building's history made it worse. The same hallway once led to the children's ward decades ago. Tim tried to reason it away. Maybe someone's child had wandered downstairs. But the way she stood, still, staring, felt far too unnatural. Was it just coincidence, or did he truly film the ghost of the hospital's past? What do you think? family was enjoying lunch at the Islamorada Fish Company restaurant in Alabama. 13 people gathered around a long table, adults chatting, children laughing. One photo was taken of a little girl named Hayden, who has Down syndrome. She was turning her head as the picture was taken, creating a small blur. But when they looked closer, everyone fell silent. Behind Hayden's head, a man's faint silhouette appeared. His face was blurred, but his outline was clear. No one had been standing there. No flash, no reflections, no tricks of light. What do you think? Angel, ghost, or something unexplained? This photograph was taken by a group of tourists visiting the legendary ocean liner RMS Queen Mary. According to them, they were walking along an interior staircase or boarding area when one member of the group took a photo from approximately 25 to 30 feet away. At the moment, nothing unusual was noticed. The scene looked completely normal. Only later, while reviewing the image, did they discover something odd. On the wall, within what appeared to be reflected light, a reddish figure seems to emerge. The shape is blurry, yet distinct enough to raise questions. Was it simply unusual lighting, a reflection, or something no one noticed in person? Because of the ship's long paranormal reputation, the image quickly became unsettling to those who saw it. What appeared in that reflection? Write your thoughts in the comments. The owner of this photo explained that his parents have been living in this house for around 15 years, and throughout that time they have repeatedly noticed strange things happening inside. According to them, footsteps are often heard on the second floor, especially near the bedroom and bathroom. The sounds happen during the day and at night, even when nobody is upstairs. At first, the family even joked about it, saying things like, "Someone must be heading to the bathroom again." But one day, the situation felt different. At that moment, the entire family was downstairs. No one was upstairs. Yet once again, the sound of footsteps could clearly be heard overhead. At the exact same time, a motion-activated camera installed in the bedroom sent a notification and captured a photo. According to the family, that was when a strange figure appeared in the image. The author adds that the house itself is not old. It was built in 1998, and only one other family had lived there before them. Neighbors once mentioned that an elderly woman used to live in the home, though no one knows for certain whether she passed away there. Because of the repeated footsteps and the figure captured by the camera, the family now believes something unexplained may be happening inside the house, even though they have no evidence beyond these disturbing incidents. What was walking upstairs? Write your thoughts in the comments.
Daddy, why is that guy on TV grinning every time he lies?
Baby, that's a job requirement. Check the suit and tie.
He just promised folks a future.
Yeah, last year he promised flying cars. Now he's cutting ribbons on a parking lot behind some bars.
So people know he's full of shit?
Most do. Still crap, that's the twist. Like